Talk a little bit about the Peacemaker Style 9 and the different flavors you'll get from this particular style. So if you look here, we first have the wings. Of course, there's going to be a 9 with a 1 wing or a 9 with an 8 wing. You have either one of those two options. Rodney King is a good example of a 9 with an 8 wing. If you remember in the LA riots way back 20, 30 years ago, he basically got up after he had been beaten and after a trial where the cops kind of got off on what happened and there were riots in the street, he basically said, why can't we all get along? Which is remarkable. That's a good example of a 9 with an 8 wing, somebody that's interested in being a comforter. They're steady and willful when they're doing well. When they're not, their shadow side can be a little bit anti-authoritarian. Not necessarily true in Rodney King's case. Nelson Mandela is a good example with a 9 with a 1 wing. Definitely a dreamer. Obviously, it made huge differences with that ability. When he's doing well, much more composed and idealistic. When he's operating in the shadow side of his personality, the low side, can be critical and controlled. Now, if you remember, we have these different subtypes, these 3 different divisions of the 9. Now, instead of just one or the other, the way to think about it is this is 3 different parts of a 9. So you'll have a primary, a secondary, and then often your third you're actually kind of blind to. The first one is we call collector. It's a self-preservation 9. This subtype focuses on familiar routines, physical comforts, and being in a supportive environment. They're patient, they're grounded, and they have a good amount of common sense. They have their own pace, routines, life philosophy, and resist demands to change them. When routines and lifestyle are disrupted, it's extremely difficult and challenging for them. And routines and lifestyle helps them, there's the subtype, forget themselves. This reminds me a lot of my father-in-law. On Monday night, pizza. On Tuesday night, ham with certain kinds of the same kind of veggies. I can't remember what they were. On Wednesday night, different kind of meal. Thursday night, same kind of Thursday night meal. And then at every lunch, he always had tuna fish sandwich and a Diet Coke. So that gives you a little bit of idea. It doesn't have to be in the area of food, but it's that routine. Now, one-to-one, this person that really likes the intensity that they get from a relationship, a one-on-one relationship, we call seeker. This subtype will merge or fuse with somebody by taking on their attitudes, ideals, and feelings, since it can be difficult for them to stand on their own. They can have internal anxiety because they tend to lose themselves in their identity in the process. They can have an internal battle going on because they desire to merge and yet to be autonomous. So there's this internal battle there. And they are kind, they're shy, they're gentle, not very assertive, and they look at the world like the wonder of a child. So they're really enjoyable people, but those are a peek into the one-on-one. Now the counter type, the one that doesn't really look like a 9, is a community benefactor. They're the social subtype of a 9. This counter type will merge with the group that they feel like, so that they feel like they belong somewhere. They're more outgoing and active and involved with the world and others. They're much more optimistic and tend to be the glue in society, and yet they can fall asleep to their own personal priorities. They can be cheerful and task-oriented, but still struggle with fully knowing and pursuing their own desires. So that's an idea of the different flavors, the wings, and the subtypes of a style 9.